Hey guys, today we are talking about the Meike 50mm f1.7 lens. So before we get into talking about this lens, I just want to show you what you can expect if you purchase this lens in terms of the boxing and what you get with the lens. So right here you'll see that you will receive the lens in this cardboard box right here. What you'll be getting is the lens, of course, with the end lens cap right there. You'll be getting this plastic lens hood, and a lot of people complain about this lens hood because it's, you know, a little bit cheaper. It's made out of plastic, but you know, honestly, I don't care because I really don't use lens hoods a lot. In specific situations I will, but usually I have them off, and as long as it does the job, that's fine. They also give you a little lens pouch to put the lens in, and a lens cleaning cloth, that's nice. I like that. So here is the lens right here. I have it on the Canon EOS R camera body. And let me just take it off real quick so you can kind of see what the lens looks like alone. So this is the 50mm 1.7 lens, and you will see that this is specifically made for the RF mount. So the way that the lens protrudes on the back end here is just so it can actually fit that larger mount. So I decided to pair this with the Canon EOS R because it seems like a good fit. You know, the EOS R is a little bit slower, you know, relative to modern cameras today, like the R6 and the R5. I think it only does 5 continuous frames when you're in continuous autofocus. So really, you know, if I'm using a manual lens, I don't really need the speed of the camera. I just need to be working with a nice sensor, and the Canon EOS R has a nice sensor. I think that the 30 megapixel sensor will definitely challenge this 50mm 1.7 and kind of see if we can get all of the resolution that we can out of that lens. So right off the bat, when I opened the package for this lens, the first thing that I noticed was the build quality is pretty awesome for a lens of this price, and I'll get to the price later, but you know, the all metal construction feels really, really premium. And the dampening for the aperture ring and the focus ring also feel really nice. So it makes, you know, using this lens, you know, because you have to manual focus, it does make using this lens a more pleasurable experience. Like I said, even though the hood is made out of plastic, I still think it'll get the job done. And honestly, especially for, you know, manual lenses like this where I'm working on kind of like more creative photography most of the time, I usually probably won't use a lens hood because I like getting those different characteristics that you get when you are shooting into a light source. The build quality definitely reminds me more of a vintage lens, and like I said, it's very solid and very portable. The size is nice. And honestly, that's one of the things that I really miss after moving to the Canon mirrorless system is a nice portable setup. Because immediately after I transitioned to the Canon mirrorless system, I invested in nice RF lenses, the L series lenses, and all of those lenses are huge. Just for reference, here's the Meike 50mm right next to the 85mm 1.2 lens. But to be more fair, I mean, here's the Canon RF 1.2 versus the Meike 50mm 1.7. So I definitely missed having a nice compact mirrorless setup. And when I have something that is this compact, I'm definitely more likely to take it everywhere I go, which kind of just translates to more practice with photography and video. All right, let's talk about image quality. So the images that come from this lens are very reminiscent of what you would get from vintage lenses where, you know, you have a little bit of a busier background in regards to the bokeh. Some people like that look where you get more of that soap bubble characteristic in the specular highlights of your photo. In regards to the sharpness of this lens, I definitely think that wide open, it's acceptable. I don't think it's one of those lenses where you necessarily need to stay away from shooting it all the way wide open because it's too soft. I do think that you get acceptable results and sort of more of a dreamy look. As with any lens, this lens does sharpen up pretty quickly when you start stopping it down, and I would say probably at about f8 you get a nice consistent sharpness throughout the whole image. So if you want to use this lens for a landscape photography or maybe for street photography, then f8 is going to be a sweet spot. Now obviously if you compare the image quality of this lens to the RF series L lenses, you're definitely not going to be getting as high of a performer in regards to sharpness and overall resolution of the lens. But, you know, given the price, I don't think it's fair to compare the two. I think this lens also does relatively well handling flare and ghosting given the price point. One thing I forgot to mention about the build of the lens is that the aperture ring is clickless. So you kind of get a very smooth transition when you are turning that ring, which can be good for video, but it's also just fun to use in general. So like I said in the beginning, the size of this lens is one of the biggest reasons that I would actually buy this. In terms of third-party lenses for the RF mount system, you don't really have a lot to choose from. So this is definitely going to be one of your more portable options. The main reason why I think a lot of people are going to purchase this lens is the price point. It's an excellent price point at right now only $110 US. So that's the value is pretty insane. And I think that a lot of beginner photographers, so anyone who's just starting to kind of invest in Canon mirrorless, who want to maybe start moving away from those kind of variable aperture kit lenses, and you know, you want to start experimenting with prime lenses, this is a great option. For only $110, you can start to kind of experiment with lower light photography, or if you want to get the general benefit of increased creative expression, because you do have more choices in regards to subject isolation. In terms of the RF mount, I think this lens pairs best with the RP or the R, and probably more so with the RP just because that's a smaller body, so you'll have this like ultra compact setup. So yeah, if you're looking for a new RF lens, a prime lens to experiment with, whether you want to get into landscape or portrait photography, I think this is a great choice. Or you can go with the Meike 50mm f1.7 lens, which to me seems to be a better value. If you want to see a video on that lens, leave me a comment below and definitely subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.